Hi there, traders. So today is something very special. Like, look at that. Like, what? We have 100 subscribers. Like I'm so mind, I'm so mind blowing. It's like, what? I'm very happy. I'm very happy and I'm very thankful. So let's talk about my few trades today, but I want to actually bring you in the journey, the full journey, to understanding why I was taking that trade. And it wasn't just like simple thinking or like, oh, I'm gonna sell it. I'm just wanna tell you the story, what are behind the trades, what I'm taking. So this story actually becomes all the way down here a few months ago. So basically, the first worldly behavior principle is like, back in the days when you're a kid and you're thinking like, your first time you fail, second time you fail, and third time you're like, oh, like that's the third time, I'm gonna make it now because it's my third time, I have to do it. The same behavior, that's actually a true behavior pattern. The same behavior. We have the first touch, we have the second touch here, and you see we have the third touch here. So every time when the price was inside between those zones, like we have longs, and we have longs, so we have the bullish rejection there inside those zones. So that was my first information, what was in my head if I was looking today, the price behavior. And the second thing is, when we had the first bullish, so we didn't break our last highs. The second time we didn't break our last highs, and now the third time we didn't break our last high. So I'm like kind of like, okay, it smells like perish now, And the third thing was for me the behavior between these two zones and my two rejection zones. Most likely, if you look in the pattern of the rejection itself. So if I'm gonna go down now here, I'm gonna make the same. We have this top one, the zone, and then we have this bottom one, and then we have these two rejection zones middle here. So the second time when we have inside that zone, we have like patterns, something like that. That was the second time. But now the third time when we was here, we actually kind of like things, and we going here, or the both shows to me the weakness. I see the weakness of the emotion there, and now the next thing what I was doing there, I am already kind of like, okay, I see something interesting there, more like in the peristructure. And now what I was doing, I was using the Fibonacci all the way to the top there. You see bottom here to all the way top here, because that was the full extension movement. And now the thing what I was noticing was, so what we have here, we have this exactly 618 retest. And so if we're gonna zoom in, you see that was the 618 here, and then we have retest, we make this level of holder and going all the way above here. But now this other thing, we're still talking about Fibonacci more, is if you're looking about this 0.25 zone and 0.3364 zone, so those zones are psychological level of holders. It's like kind of like spirituality inside those zones. And if I'm gonna zoom in now in those zones, so what I'm gonna see here, so you see the first time when we break that zone, what was happening, we get rejected and immediately like smashed down. So that's the first information for me of the of the pattern weakness. Is the strength weakness, and we have huge breakdown sides. So that's the huge, confirmation for me, like, whoa, wow, okay, that zone, it is extreme, it's a very extreme zone, and we show loads of weakness above it. The second thing what we have yesterday was this making here. So for me this was trend line. Like if you look at that trend line here, so we create this trend line, but at the same time we respect the second, one sec, the second level of holder what we have here. Kind of same time we hold it, so it's still the time to don't take the action. You still wait, you are patient, you're still waiting. And today morning we're gonna pull back, so we have this retest of the trend line, and now very interesting story again. If you're looking like this behavior here is like, oh wow, we get shown, like you see how it's pushing down a lot, it's pressure there, and soon as when we go above it we get rejected on the trend line and just make the same weakness behavior pattern like here, and then we have the same impulse candlestick, it's strong impulse candlestick here, strong impulse candlestick. And what was happening is, we close under the last impulse movement. This impulse candlestick, the body close under it, under everything. If you see this one, that was the last impulse what we have, and we close under whole structure. Those were the little details what was my head. And one more detail is what was my head is this one here. So when we make this spiky zone here, so if you look at this zone, and if you're gonna track this zone here, you see this one here is leaning here, and you see this price behavior here in this, exactly the same, like we have randomly 3 dodges there. Is like what's going on, and now this full extension movement is actually leaning on this extreme zone what we create here. But that's just information. I'm gonna delete this one, and then I was just waiting, and the zone what I was doing up here was this zone for me, and then I see the retest. And another detail what was in my head is the same patterns what I'm talking all the time. We have this M pattern here, break and retest, break and double retest, and then we're going. So this is like another information what is in my head, to just gathering more information to support my thoughts of long short in that time. This is what was in my head, and this zone here. So this zone I was actually zoom in 5 minutes, because why not. And then I just was looking something what is like very small light, and then I found this place here. How perfectly you look at that. We create this place, rejection, break above it, we lean, we break it, retest it, and going down, and now we retest back here. You see the same kind of, we break this and we have rejection, you see it. And if you look in the same thing in 15 minutes, how perfectly we have, you see this wick high and this wick low, how we have like space between here. And then as soon as when I see the retest back on that space, that was my entry. Stop loss was exactly that zone, a little bit higher even. That was my stop loss. Take profit was the same level what we create here, the 618 retest and the retest. So we create this new level holder here, and that was my take profit. 13.8 risk reward ratio, absolutely beautiful trade. But like how much information I was having to take this sell, a lot of information, and all those details, all those details actually, they are forming the energy to take the sell. So that's the first one. So let's talk about gold. I was selling gold today too. The gold was same zones what we have already previously. When we're talking about this long here, this sell here, and this long here. So I was using the same zone, and actually if you zoom in, one thing, how we create this zone. We create this zone exactly the same thing. We have the weakness of the behavior, and you see how we break retest and we have huge impulse movement. Exactly the same pattern what they see in oil, but you see they are like playing out differently. That's why you have to realize every pair, like gold and oil, they are different, emotion inside. The behavior is behavior, each market is different, every market. But the same thing, we have this weakness here. Soon as the market goes back, same thing, weakness, same thing, weakness, same thing, weakness, and now same thing, weakness. Almost like look at that, 1 2 3 4 5 times. It's like, come on, I'm gonna take it. Like if 4 times it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, 5th time too, basically. So, and the thing was, yep. So I was using the same pattern here. If you're gonna put like this one beautifully here. Actually, I was using today both trade takes in 5 minutes. I don't do kind of often those things, but sometimes I love to research around. 5-minute time frame is much more details and more information, and sometimes you can actually find some good levels there. But that was the level of the 5 minutes, and basically what I was waiting was retest and back to the level holder. Very simple trades, like absolutely very simple trades. And one thing what I noticed, if you're looking this price action here, because we break the highs, and if you use right now the Fibonacci, you see we have this actually perfectly 618 bounce basically. But if you look in the level of holder what we have here, we have 1 2 3 4, and this was the 5-time rejection. This level of holder is strong. Now we have to balancing out the the energy between the Fibonacci and the level of holder. And this balancing out for me was to see the weakness pattern again. And that's why I was actually in 5 minutes, because I want to see a little bit closer. And if I'm gonna show you now what was happening a little bit closer, the same things what I'm talking about all the time. When we was talking about oil, we have M pattern, but look at now, we have this W pattern. The principle is breaking higher, retest and go higher, but you see actually we break downsides and retest and breaking downsides. This we fail this pattern, we fail this behavior, showing clearly to you this zone is much stronger than this Fibonacci holding. If I'm gonna show you now this breaking structure, we're gonna bring this one here. You see the original one will be gonna go here, retest and going higher, but we fail the W pattern. It's the weakness, and now we make this zone where I was retesting. Oh, actually, look at that. This was the point. I was waiting this retest to sell back here. This was my entry, and this was the take profit done here. Oh, if anyone wanna join my Discord where we are, so I'm gonna put link down, so everybody can join and look at that. Every single level holder is right now going. Like even if you're all in this trade now here, and now it's quite possible we're gonna reach that zone, because this zone is not matter anymore. Because we not fail, more likely we disrespect. We disrespect, that means we don't need that zone anymore in the future. But those zones and this zone, they are still respecting, and in that case you don't need to remove those zones, because they are still respecting those zones, and this bottom one too, and this rejection high here too. Those are still valid zones. And the last thing what I want to talk about is this Bitcoin. was making this Bitcoin video one day, and I was talking about the same zone and this zone, and what was happening. Actually, we're going above this rejection high, we get rejected, and we actually break above, back above that zone here. And why? And we still have this zone because the market is still like respecting that zone, like super clear and nicely. And same thing with those bottoms, they are still super clear there. I'm gonna delete this one right now because I wanna show you exactly, I want to show you exactly what I'm meaning, because otherwise you just look at the lines. And so then now the thing is, so we're breaking, we have to retest. It was kind of like, okay, people can go inside here too, but the market. But today, the best place, let's focus on today. So I was seeing we create this zone here, because we have like how I want to show you how we actually create those zones. It's a very important thing. Actually, I'm gonna show you right now here. How we create those zones is like, you see how one candlestick is pushing down like that, and you see the second candlestick is actually going up in the same point, exactly the same point. If you look in this one, it's pushing down. This doji is now balancing the energy, and now it's pushing higher. That's how we create those zones. It's a very strong principle to to remind, to build muscle memory around it. Like my trading is purely muscle memory. And the second thing what to notice here was we have this boom, exactly the same thing all the time, boys. Break, retest, and going lower. You see this M pattern here. Those patterns are all the time everywhere. And now you're looking at the same zone what we create here. So after retest we have rejection, and then we have this M pattern. And to take a perfect trade is the retest of M pattern, what was happening here. So your sell gonna be here, stop loss exactly that zone. First take profit and second take profit here. Beautiful. Like, come on, like it's a very simple and very beautiful way to trade, and actually discovering the trading mindset. It's very beautiful. That's the pure knowledge there and pure mastery. But in the end, come on, 100 subscribers. Damn. Thank you. Like thank you. It's like taking, I feel touched, I have, some tears even. It's just, it's so beautiful to see that. It's very beautiful. I'm very thankful, and I think it's pretty good knowledge today because it's Friday, and in the weekend just watch a few times, grab a sticky notebook, put all those things down. It's a very helpful video, I think, and remember those patterns. And you kinda have to feel those things. You kinda have to feel those pressures between one side and the other side. It's like you have the yin yang pattern, but the thing is, what most people don't understand, the yin yang is not just a 2D picture what you see. It's a 3D, it's a 4D, it's a 5D. It's going around. It's a perfect sphere. There is our lines, and it's going like two donuts, and it's a very interesting principle what to master and learn, because that's the life around that pattern. It's the OG pattern in this world, full of wisdom. But I'm gonna finish today, and I'm gonna say good weekends, super good weekends. Enjoy, go in the nature, hug some trees is necessary, and reward yourself in good ways. And thank you. I'm gonna see you every single one Monday, and have a nice weekend. Ciao.